Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So we're having a break on locomotives today, even if I've got a couple of things I have to do on locomotive right now on one of the 04 OTAs. But we're having a look at a 2-axle coal wagon right now. This is a French State Railways SNCF coal wagon, you can see, and with a coal load which seems to be homemade by the look of it. It's like a kind of foam that's been poured in here. It's actually quite a heavy model. It's actually quite heavy. It's got quite a lot of weight. I've not got the scales in here, but it could be an idea to borrow the electronic kitchen scales and have a look. Anyway, it's a more recent model because you can see that the coupling hooks, the typical Jouef hook and die coupling hooks here, you can see. These coupling hooks are not held in place with the usual brass screw. In fact, they are made, the body of the hook is made in plastic, and the eye is made of metal. Whereas the typical Jouef hook, let's just take one of these 04 OTA locomotives, is this type here, all in metal. So we have metal hook and a metal eye as well, which is held in place by a brass screw. So this is the classic Jouef. This is the old-fashioned, the typical Jouef one is made of metal. This is a more recent model. So what did I do on this locomotive, on this wagon? Jouef wheels have the tendency to lose their gauge. In fact, this locomotive had slack wheels on the axles, and sometimes it's not the axle with the rubber insulator, but the non-insulated axle that tends to lose grip on the axle. This usually happens when you lubricate the axles because the oil is sucked in by a capillary action, and the axle becomes loose. The wheel becomes loose on the axle. This is not the case because I haven't lubricated this yet. So what did I do? I applied a tiny spot on both wheels of both axles of bearing retaining compound, which you've seen in previous videos. I have some in a small jar, but it's a Loctite. It's the red Loctite bearing retaining compound. In Italian we call it frena filetti, meaning bearing stopper, literally. And I applied a tiny spot with a piece of wire to the axles. And what I'm going to do right now, there's always a little excess that remains, because this also gets absorbed, sucked in by capillary action into the space between the axle and the wheel where it's supposed to go, but we don't want any other stuff. See, it's still kind of wet. So I'm using this piece of paper. This is a perfume sample strip for when you try perfumes in shops. My wife likes perfumes, and so we always have these things in the house whenever we go to a shop, a perfume shop or a soap shop, or one of these stores that sell such things. I always pocket as many of these as I can. I just stick a handful in my pocket. Anyway, they're for free. So, and I'm just drying, getting rid of the excess which hasn't dried, because of course what went in between the axle and the wheel has dried in the meantime, and there's no trace of it. You can see that there's some blue retaining agent there and there on this blotting paper. This is practically blotting paper, so it's an excellent. You can see this as even a yellow mark. I've used it when painting lines on the rail car, yellow lines. So that's a very simple job, and I'll just get rid of the excess with this. And now we'll just use a cotton bud to get rid of the what's really left. Let's have a look if we get something else on here. Anything remaining on there? No, I think we've absorbed and got rid of the excess there. Perfect. So this is now ready for, there seems to be a wee bit here still. Let's just do that and turn the wheel round. Okay. Yes. Anyway, this is going to dry gradually, no problem, because the wheels are very free running, very free running. But I'm going to put a spot of oil, sewing machine oil, in the axle boxes. Another good lubricant for axle boxes is pencil lead. You get a soft pencil like a 4B, but to do that you have to take the wheels out. And you know, if I can avoid taking wheels out of old plastic axle boxes, I avoid doing so, because you never know, things crack and then you've got a damaged model and you can't use it. But this is actually quite good now. Plus it's got quite a lot of weight. The wheels need cleaning, they're dirty, they're oxidized, so we'll be using lighter fluid on them. Here there's actually like missing chrome there, you can see. I'll also polish that up with a fiberglass pencil, but that's another. I'll do that probably off camera. I mean, you've seen me doing it before, or whatever. Okay, right, that was just a small update on this, short update on this wagon. And definitely when we eventually manage to do a running session, this wagon will feature together with the other coal wagons on the layout. Okay, right, as usual, and I always forget to say this at the beginning of the video, if you like the video, give it a like. If you of course click the subscription to the channel, that's very useful. It helps the channel grow, and also click the notification bell. And that's that for the moment. Cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao ciao.